depending on where you live. Thought I'd come on here for a minute. So let's talk about it. Thought I'd come on here, see what we doing. We're gonna be here for a minute today, so gotta get this thing on just a second. Talk about that game last night because Shay looked pretty good, but they did what they supposed to do. So this is a legit question here. So don't act like you don't act like you're not surprised when I'm saying this. Will they win another game in this finals? We're gonna be doing this thing real quick, so we're gonna be talking about it. I know it might be kind of, we're gonna be people want to come on. So there's a handful of people coming through. So let's see what we get. What we got? What's happening? What's happening? How you doing? How you doing? Feel free. Hello, how you? Peace. Thank you for coming through today. Feel free to hit the like button. Uh, someone says Indiana will win. So far, even though Indiana won at the buzzer, OKC has outplayed them. Aside for that late flurry in game one. So it's a good question. Will Indiana win another game this series? Because what's up? What's up? Perfect timing. Good to have you. I'm on here for an hour. So let's talk with the fire. Let's talk. Hit that like button and let's get some comments about this poll because it's a real legit poll question. So far, OKC has outplayed them. So far. So yeah, he's hard to stop. He really is. He's so wormy, like it's like AI meets Kobe in a way. In a way, he's got an ability to just draw. He makes his shots. He maneuvers really well. He's playing at a higher level, and if they can't find a way to stop him, I think Hallie's real. I just think that it's the type of point guard he plays. Well, he's trying to get others involved. The problem is that they don't have a pure scorer. Who is a pure scorer on that team? Pascal, as I say, is a sidekick, but Pascal is not consistent. Miles Turner is not consistent. They don't have a guy like a Reggie Miller or a Paul George that you sit there, or Danny Granger that you sit there and you're scared of. But collectively, they can score 15 points. Collectively, one of those guys can step up. They don't have that guy. So he's not passive. He's trying to play within the team concept. See, if he goes off, will Pascal join him? And what you got after that? And Miles Turner, who I like, but Miles Turner's inconsistent as all get out. They don't have another weapon. Who else they got? But as a collective team, they're dangerous because if they play team ball and they hit their shots, you can respect them. But asking me who else do they have that you're sitting there like, oh, this guy. Yep, that's his problem. That's why he a sidekick. That's why I got him as a Robin. Because if he had any kind of consistency, they'd be running in the finals the next 4 or 5 years. If he had consistency, he ain't. That's why he doesn't get like. There's a reason why he got kind of looked over. I told you this. When he played with Kawhi Leonard, he looked like a strong sidekick. If you put him with the right first tier cat, he looked like he's scary. You be thinking he could run his team. It's kind of like the Serge Ibaka syndrome. Cat got athleticism, but when you put him by himself, ISO, and ask him to be that man every night, you're not getting those results. That's why I said Siakam should have probably gone to Golden State, playing with Steph, or you team him up with someone like Giannis. You put him with somebody, or you team him with Jalen Brunson. You put him with somebody like that, or a cat that scores a lot, he'll look like a beast. Put him with Jokic. That's my knock against him. Because some people will buy drinking the Pascal Kool Aid, and I said, well, pull it back, pull it back. I know what y'all thinking. Y'all thinking he gonna be like a some Akeem Olajuwon. Y'all thinking he gonna be on some. He ain't that dude. He ain't that dude. He look. He do. Yep. You sure would. You would, and we all would. Cause I'm telling you, if Kawhi had stayed there, they win another ring. Nick Nurse was a good coach. Nick Nurse find out the hard way. Nick Nurse find out the hard way. There's a big fall off from Toronto to Philly, and I ain't talking about just crossing the border or the toll money. But you find out the hard way. So, and Pascal is one of those kind of guys. No one's gonna really knock him for that because, again, he's a high second tier player, and if you're good and you don't have no expectations and you're right with that, that's fine. But people who got eyeballs and know better are gonna call that out. He ain't no starter. And I don't want nobody come talking about could Pascal hang with Chris Bosh? Could he hang with Anthony Davis? I'm like, no. But if you put a top tier cat with him, he's scary. And that is one thing that Hallie's got. Hallie can, but they just don't have a score. They don't have a score to complement. Better than all of them. Better than all of them, because he's like AI updated with a percentage and assistant rebounds. More, more overall effective than Harden and Westbrook. Better than all of them. I know, and that's not a character of the moment. When his career is done and he stays healthy and focused, he's gonna have 20+ thousand points. He's gonna have assists. He's gonna have rebounds. He got the chip. If he gets the chip, wins the all that. How you not gonna put him over those guys? And I know AI is the only one that you can say is sacrilege, but ask yourself this: SGA's been doing a 35 thing going for like straight years. He's more of a leader. He's not a better pure scorer, but he's a better leader. Because if KD had what that cat's got mentally, he'd own the league. Then we could have that him versus LeBron Steph thing. That's what SGA got. He cold with it. And the thing about it, people don't like it because of the way he played. He's low key with it, but he keeps pressure on you. He keeps pressure on you, and he don't mind being effective and be effective. And I did a video about him 2 years ago when I said he was coming. I said that I did an old video, and then lo and behold, if he ain't playing up, if he played for New York or he played for LA or Chicago or Miami or Houston or somebody or Boston, they be having him front page because he can flat out score and he can flat out play, and the goods is there. And let me tell you something: if the Clippers had him right now, they'd be in the finals. That's what Kawhi Leonard and them didn't have. You think he wouldn't know what to do with Zubats? Good to see you, Charlene. Thank you for coming. You think he wouldn't know what to do with Zubats? Well, now what Dennis Johnson, Gus Williams did back in the late '70s. Gary Payton was great, but this guy is it's a different hit with him. It's a different hit. He is so cool and just he's a cold snake. He's cold because he just worm him way, puts them numbers up, and he just keeps the pressure on you. So I expect, um, you know, they if they wins the chip, you gotta put him way up there. You gotta start talking about him because he'll have a Finals MVP, a regular season MVP, a Western Conference MVP. You know, and then all that stuff adds up. There's no doubt that he's the best player on the best team, and there's no doubt that they're gonna make a tweak or two. They got a chance to get a couple more rings. So that's how high I put him in high regards. And I am not prisoner of the moment because when I gave Jokic his due, even though I say he's top seven, he's still behind Moses and Akeem. He ain't at the main four. His number's gonna be nice, but he ain't there. And Giannis is up top 10, you know, but he's not as far as power forwards, his positioning. But he ain't, he need another ring. He needs another ring. But SGA, there's no doubt in my mind. Oh, he's a way better efficient shooter than AI. AI was one of those guys that he shot and then he thought about it later. They two different types of players. No, he ain't better than Duncan. He ain't better than Carmelo. He ain't better than Barkley. For me, you didn't. Barkley won an MVP, and Barkley led a team to the finals. And Barkley got robbed out of a couple MVPs. He might have a chance at top five. He might, but is he better than Dirt? Is he better than Carmelo? Tim Duncan? Kevin Garnett? See how tough that top five is to crack? That's a tough top five to crack. That's a tough top five. He has to win another ring, and then I might cat him over Dirk. And he has to have 25, 30,000 points. Then I might say, yeah. Right now, I wouldn't have him over Garnett or Dirk. I don't have him over Karl Malone. I don't have him over Tim Duncan. And him and Barkley, they're battling. And I like Barkley's game better because Giannis still shoots ugly. I know what he's got. It's tough, but he ain't cracking them top. He ain't better than Duncan. I can't put him over Karl Malone yet. And I can't put him over Kevin Garnett because Garnett was almost in all that. Them three. We can debate him and I said him and Barkley are debatable, and then yeah, and Dirk because Dirk is underappreciated. Now, if Giannis had a Dirk type of game, he would probably be number two. If he could shoot like Dirk, if he somehow didn't get knocked out in the first round, oh yeah, I would do too. See, this is the problem I have with Giannis. As great as a talent as he's made himself out to be, people be treating him like he's soft and knock him out in the first round. He had two first round exits in the last few years, so that works against you. And no one respects you and all them coaches, and you're just not effective. You're a stat pattern who can play both sides of the rock, but you can't bring nothing else out you. No one looks at him quite like they do Jokic as far as saying you're going to move on. See, that's the problem he's running into. I didn't make it up. I'm just telling you. So don't come, don't hit the messenger. Hey, that's the reality. You know, if we had a time machine, what would you do? I do. That's why he's not in my top 10. And all these people who always talk about how he was so dominant over Shaq, well, Shaq had a better career. Elijah was arguably the most athletic. You could put that in with Wilt and Shaq and all that. But as far as all this, what he was about, he was trade bait half his career. The thing with him and Ralph Sampson was fluky, and then Houston was trying to unload him. His athleticism, even if you read Wilt Chamberlain's, who's running the asylum, he says he can't go high on Hakeem because he didn't feel he was that tough mental. That's what he said in his book. And Hakeem Olajuwon, for some, would be like athletically almost to Wilt, but no, that wouldn't even be fair to Wilt because Wilt was still another level. I don't feel he was dominant. He had a great run or two in there, and his athletics, and I liked him a lot. Dream shit. See, sometimes he one of those guys you fall in love because of what he did, and he is. I can make a case one of the top 15, 16, 17 greatest players ever. I can make that list. I can't put him no. I can't put him with no Shaq, no Wilt, no Russell, no Kareem. I can't do it. But I haven't, and I barely him and Moses is underappreciated. Oh, he was incredible those couple of years. I mean, they put and that, again, that was when he was trade bait too. You know, he played out his mind. Maybe he needed a David Robinson picture. Moses is most underappreciated because Moses was the only guy I know who could self rebound himself 20 boards. And Moses was raw bone. You don't never see nobody like that no more. Jokic has not passed Moses Malone for me. He's a better offensive player, and that's all I got. Other than that, and Moses scored a lot of points. So if I just say that, what else has he got over Moses? Moses three-time league MVP. Moses was a banger. Moses took less talented teams to the finals. You know, Calvin Murphy was nice. He took less talented teams and talked about it. I don't know what people those people are. And Andre Drummond's problem is he never played up. He can score a little bit. He can rebound a little bit. He's a settler. He's a settler. Now, they didn't get to see Moses Malone play. That's why they say that craziness. If they saw Moses Malone play, they wouldn't talk that craziness. Andrew Drummond plays like Philip Drummond, like he on different strokes. That's what he had that one out of body, and he just kind of just fell off. Yeah, because he had to bulk up. I watched those finals. He had to bulk up because whatchamacallit was putting wood to his behind. I watched those finals live. I remember. Shoot, Moses was a tough dude, yo. Moses came out of high school and was physical and was bringing it. So it's no contest. Moses was a brother. So they don't ain't gonna ever give no love. Moses one of them cats that, they couldn't polish up. But he taught Elijah on a lot. So but Jokic ain't passed him. I think it's because I did a video about it. And I'm gonna say it for one main reason. The one main reason. Because I think it kind of almost deflates Wilt's career. See, I think that in some ways that same amount of numbers almost makes him look like he felt a stereotype 304, but also it works against how people look at him as an athlete. They think his priorities were in the right place. So I don't think he's. I think he called out on it, but also I'm looking at it from perspective. It doesn't make Wilt look good in the sense it kind of waters down his legacy because it's like he spent more time with that than trying to beat Bill Russell. And I think about it and kind of takes away. Even though you can make the case he's the GOAT, or you can say he's top 4 or 5, that ain't no problem. But to understand how great he was, and to use that is kind of like, and I think Shaq got a point because if with all the stuff that goes on, he would have taken a lot out of him. So I think that's the sad part that's known about Will Chamberlain in a way. To me, it's kind of sad because that's what a lot of people use as a means to identify him, as opposed to being one of the greatest players ever. And when Kareem passed his record up, a lot of people were hating on him. I'm just keeping it 100. So Shaq's using that angle. If he's using that angle, then that's not hating. He's actually stating something because then it makes Wilt look like that's what he was about. And he put more numbers on that. I can't really answer that because they too different. They a little bit too different. Depends on what team he's playing with. Depends on the guard he's got and how he encounters Shaq. It'd be interesting. Depends on who he's playing with because it's all a system. Yeah, I know about Elizabeth Smart, but I really don't know if I'd say her actor for roses. I mean, it's how do I say it? That's kind of like a stretch because anything that happened in 1987 and then you think of 2002, they have different connotations. But I remember the Elizabeth Smart. It depends on what Will is playing, who he's playing for. Depends on who he's playing for. Depends on his coach. Depends on the system. You put Will on that Sacramento Kings team in the early 2000s, they'll come out and they'll win. Put him with that Spurs team with David Robinson or with Tim Duncan, good chance to win. Put Will on that Mavericks team back then, they may not come out. There's certain it depends on which team we talking about. So which teammates would be down on the block. I'm taking Shaq. There's no way he gonna stop Shaq on the block. Especially because he even said he wasn't physical like Shaq. He said that, and Shaq was imposing. And remember, Shaq didn't even play with a legit point guard most of his career in his peak in his prime. So take that consideration. You know, all depends on how we playing. Now, and Shaq, when he was with Orlando, could have ran with Wilt. That version runs. That Laker version is muscle and pound cake. And in Miami, he was like a hybrid of both. So it all depends which era you want. Down on the block, ain't nobody stopping Shaq. he could frustrate him. He could fluster him. Though, if he could find a way how to fluster him, push him and lean him. But if he has to like just play in the box, if there wasn't all about the way they were, yeah, Hal Greer was a beast. But it's always tough to compare. I remember that team was one of the greatest basketball teams ever. It's tough to compare eras, so I don't do that. That's why I don't believe in really saying that so and so is the greatest or this or that because again, your criteria is kind of all over the place because what is your criteria? You're only going by your eyeball test, and if you brought the lines in, you brought this in, it could be completely different if all things being created equal. Yeah, Charlene, I can't really answer that question because heroicism is different. Depends on who you're. They had Gail Goodrich and Elgin Baylor, but Elgin Baylor quit before the season. And Elgin Baylor is one of the baddest cats ever. In fact, Oscar Robertson called him the GOAT. And you got to imagine if guy put 27, 28,000 points with no 3 point line, what would he have been like with the lax rules? And what would he have been like playing now? So, and Pat Riley was on that team too, for good measure, riding the pine. Goodrich was nice. Bill Goodrich was nice. That was one of the greatest teams ever. Yep, he just did. The cat was bad too. Had a nice soft touch, drive, layup. Out of those two, is Castor. Because Fidel like Fidel's like about 700 years old. Hussein was like self-inflicted, self-brought. He's kind of like Trump situation. They put money on him. They blew him up. They blew him up. They made him into something. You're going through some interesting questions you're asking me. It used to be all music and movies, and now you're asking about these dictators and stuff. I wonder what you've been reading your history channel. Yeah, Saddam was actually loved over here. He had the key to the city. I think it was in Detroit or something. Yeah, a lot of those cats had access, and then they acted, and then they got big headed, and they pulled a Diddy because they were all down before they got all crazy. That's all. Yeah, but he ain't, people still got respect for Elgin Baylor, the ones who remember him. That's all I gotta say about that. So a 40-year-old cat gonna save your behind? Yeah, right. Get your butt knocked out probably by week 6. Yeah, same way I am too. If you got a flat screen TV, bring it home too. Please don't tell that lie to nobody. They gonna commit you for that lie. Just like how he brought it home to the Jets. First time he get hit from the blind side, let me know. I don't know why a cat like that want to still keep on playing when he ain't nothing but tee off. They gonna tee off on him. You ain't gotta worry about. You got nothing to worry about because both y'all gonna be home and plenty of time to watch a real teams on TV. So you ain't got nothing to worry about. Dak's gonna be there. Y'all gonna have plenty of time to root whoever's playing in the AFC and NC because it ain't gonna be y'all two. You ain't gonna worry about. At least I will say this about Aaron. At least he, one rank. Well, yeah, four MVP, all that hype, and it does. He's one of the most overrated quarterbacks I've ever seen. All that hype, all that hype, and I heard so much about and they just roll and foam at the mouth about him. Peyton Rogers, they two of them, but Peyton to me would be number one if I go by regular season. Because even Aaron couldn't do. Peyton Manning was on another level. It's kind of like Greg Maddox in baseball as far as pitchers go. That kind of that's knocks me out. Mm-hmm. Their guy James Harden in basketball is one of those guys. One of them. Guys who regular season they're incredible, but they get to the postseason well they're close to it. They're close to it. Brett Favre can make a case too, because he won a lot of games and stat pad with the best of them. There's a few, but I think Peyton Manning would probably be the one I would probably say. Anyway, come on with some more questions though, so we keep it going. People getting quiet again. You gotta have more than just that. Come on now. No, because Kobe got better. By the time he was 25, 26, he was definitely coming to his own. I can't say that. But I will say this. If you said he was on par with him, I would say, yeah, considering no Shaq, that situation. It would be Bill Clinton, Fidel Castro. Nobody complain. No one is talking about Michael Jackson like that. In fact, that whole thing with Donald Ross was PR. Bobby Taylor from Vancouver's and Gladys Knight had more of a hand in Michael Jackson than Donald Ross. That was just PR because the Supremes were huge. That's all that was. So it had to be Clinton and Fidel than that was with that one. Again, they two different situations. No, I can't say that at this stage I take SGA over. But I say he makes a case where he's in the running with him though. So I get what you're kind of saying, but no, I can't. I can't clap for that. Because Kobe was coming into his own. But I will say SGA, you can definitely make a case. He wins everything out. He definitely becomes a top 35 player ever. I ain't hear nothing about him in New York. He already coached there a long time ago, and it didn't work out. Oh, with the net. Well, no, he was playing. He played with him when he coached the Nets. Now they need another scoring option, and they need another couple people off the bench. That's what they're missing. They need another piece. And if I was them, I'd unload whatever I could and try to get something in. They need some scoring. Pam Greer, that's not even up for discussion. Because Beyonce was like an afterthought and music blew up. Halle Berry, until she started taking off her clothes, that's when she blew and got all them token Oscars and they ain't heard nothing. No. They need a coach like Udoka. I think Jay Williams was actually right. If Udoka was available, that'd be the best coach for the Knicks to get. They either need somebody like Udoka or Sam Cassell, somebody that you didn't expect as a point guard. They need something different. Yep. It was a token Oscar. She took off her clothes and with Billy Bob Thornton. And Diddy was in that movie. That's why she got the token award. Everybody know that. And if I'm lying, how come Halle Berry's career kind of took a nosedive? They got a big old section about how black actors and actresses who won Oscars and then they kind of go AWOL because Louis Gossett Jr. was talking about it. The one that won a few years ago talked about it. I mean, it's real. You don't want that token Oscar because it don't mean nothing. So, no. I liked her as a crackhead in Jungle Fever with Samuel Jackson, and she was already in Losing Isaiah. I like her roles, but no, 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 no. She had it. She crossed over, and I'm gonna say this: she was a tier ahead of Nia Long, but Nia Long's about to get the last laugh because if that Michael Jackson movie come out, and then Nia Long had all them Best Man movies and all that, Nia's gonna actually come out away ahead, even though she didn't have the awards and the crossover Hadley did. So I remember she was crawling all on 106 in Park. I remember that because Free was looking at her crazy. She pulled a Tom Cruise. She's crawling all on the couch. And she's got charisma. She sold herself as but she just didn't. It just, her stuff was lightweight. More shocking was Sharon Tate. More suspicious was Marilyn Monroe. shocking because the way Sharon Tate's situation went down. Suspicious because Marilyn Monroe had association with the Kennedy brothers and all that with JFK and Robert. So that one will always be more. Sandra Bullock or Halle Berry, what about him? But you remember asking me what kind of questions ever Halle Berry in? Oh, Sandra Bullock, come on now. And Sandra Bullock is always like a Junior Whopper, Julia Robinson, but she's a better actress. Halle ain't never done nothing that I sit there and I go, oh, man, she was all right in Boomerang. I mean, she had some moments, she stuff that I like, but I ain't never been like, oh, do I get her mixed up with Angela Bassett? No. Lynn Whitfield, even. Madonna. Brooke was popular when I was a kid. And after she got with Michael Jackson, did that whole thing, she didn't really sustain. It was more popular when she did the jeans commercial. She actually, she kind of got almost forgotten. She had something, but it wasn't the same no more. But Madonna had the cats digging her for a minute. A lot of people dressed like Madonna. Madonna was bigger, so that should answer your question. But and Madonna had times when she looked better than she did at others. I think her hair dark. I think the Papa Don't Preach to Like a Prayer was probably her best appeal. That corny butt movie, that old sappy Disney movie, is alright. You know, white woman comes to the rescue, black. Oh, you know, I don't like those kind of movies. I don't like those kind of movies. I know he did because he wasn't getting no money, and he didn't want to be portrayed as like he wanted the truth to come out. I know. I don't like those kind of movies because that's the kind of stuff they romanticize racism. Yeah, they didn't pay the money. That's what that was about. It's all about the bag. Ain't got to do with nothing else about that bag. You don't get up that bag, then that's what people got problems with you. Money ain't funny. No one ain't see nothing, but you don't come with that money. About that money. So no, I ain't really like that. I don't like the most sappy movies like that. Which actors in that probably more glamorous? Grace Kelly. Liz Taylor worked at it and she got better, but Grace Kelly had style. She had more style. Liz Taylor was pretty, but Grace Kelly had style. And Liz Taylor took a while to get to that, which she did, but Grace Kelly had that style. You going back now? I if people come on here right, they gonna say, "Oh, you cover a lot of bases," which I do because I watched a lot of old movies growing up. I sure did. I used to watch all of them. I met Elizabeth Taylor when I was a kid too. Man, when she used to be married to Governor Warner back in Virginia. That was that was a long time ago. She went through a lot of men. She was the J Lo of her time in more ways than one. Except she was a better actress though, and she definitely had style. She definitely had style. So Grace Kelly for the W. All right, let's get some more reviews in here. Get some more conversation. It's kind of yeah. I guess it is Friday, and I came on kind of late, so I got no one to blame but me. But tomorrow I should be on a little bit early tomorrow if I don't have anything to do. All depends. Sometimes people double up and watch the show late, so that's all good. All right. 67% saying Indiana will win another one. Okay. That's good. Happy, chilling, chilling, chilling. Yep. Michael J. Fox. If you were around back then, that's a dub. Because Johnny Depp had, what was that, Pretty Baby or something before he did, what was it? What was that? What was he doing? Him and Hallie Robinson Pete were on that, what was that, cop? I can't even think of it now. But it was a little cop show. That's before Edward Scissorhands kicked his career and blew him up. No, that was no. I'm talking about the TV show. Him and Holly Robinson Pete were on a TV show, some broke cops. I liked Edward Scissorhands. It made me think of Michael Jackson. I thought it would have been a great movie for Michael to do. I liked Edward Scissorhands. It was one of my favorite holiday movies. I went to go see that with my cousins when I was in Jersey back in the day. I liked it. Tim Burton directed, so it was kind of quirky, but it worked. I like the way he cut them trees. I like that. But I like sci-fi. He cut them white women's hair. It was funny. Yeah, I liked it too. It's not for everybody, and I understand that, but I liked it. I liked him back then, and he had a few movies I liked. It's gonna be Whitney. Now, Vanessa Williams is the better actress of the three, but Whitney's when you put the singer actress part. Janetson did last. She had a bigger career than Vanessa, but as a stylist, but that's how I look at it. What am I supposed to think about it? When she once upon a time, she was a nice looking woman, no talent, no acting, no singing, broke up with a whole lot of cats, broke Oprah TV talk show, corny. What you want me to say? That's all I got. She got over. She was in the black and white video with Michael Jackson. She morphed in one of the scenes. She got a lot of her career. She stunk in higher learning. You asked me my thoughts, and she's a Q list talent. A Q list. We. Let me tell you something about the brothers, right? We loved her on mute because it was all about looking. It wasn't about her. No, no. Kept her butt on mute. No, 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 but she wouldn't have done nothing like that. I still remember when she was messing with Chris Webber and she about had him come unbuckle because he was all mad at somebody when they were messing. And she messed with Seal and she messed with she industry trick too. So went through a whole lot of them. She's a cornball actress. Tried her to sing with Dark Child. That mess went glad bag. I'm just saying. Nothing to really say about her more than that. She just cornballed me. Model who got over. And now, it's like, because they tried to do things with her. They tried to make her into a Junior Whopper Naomi Campbell. Then that didn't work. Then they tried the Junior Whopper Oprah. That didn't work. So she just had to regulate herself as just a Junior Whopper. That's all. Don't insult CP3 like that. CP3 is considered one of the top 10 point guards, maybe by some people. Tyra Banks ain't considered top 10 of nothing except in her family. Nobody talks about no Tyra Banks. Told you. Ain't nobody sweating her, man. Please. Charlene's the only person I ever said who just said she liked her personality. Believe me, she got one of the worst personalities that I know. I'm gonna keep it one. If you want the facts about her, I will tell you. If you want me to sugarcoat it, I'll humor you. No one sweats Tyra Banks. What she over got a new face somewhere? What country she in right now? I saw somewhere. Nobody sweats her. I don't have no beef with her, but I remember when she did the she had that song back in '97 because she tried to do something with Kobe. That song went glad bag. No one bought it. She stunk as Omar Epps' girlfriend and higher learner. Her acting was off. She was messing with John Singleton. See, this is the thing. She happens to be associated with things that I liked, but nobody sweated her. Get what I'm saying? So when you be mentioning her, you up here talking about her like, oh, well, yeah, but nobody was sweating her though. Nobody was sweating her skills. Because usually when you're a model, you're one step from OnlyFans, Instagram, even Cindy Crawford. It wasn't like you were some great talent. They tried. Lauren Hutton was kind of credible as a model into acting. There may be a couple, but most of them are not more than just eye candy, and they have to resort to 304 culture. Oh come on, you got to do better than that, Charlene. You know good and well you ain't gonna beat no Cosby Show. And I like the Facts of Life. I thought that was a strong cast. I like what they did, but that's not even funny. That's not even funny. That's not even funny. That's not even funny. That I'm trying to think of how I would make a comparison because that's not good one. Oh god, of course it was Whack Buster. Because Buster was all over the top about and he can't act to save his life. Except when he tries to act like he tough. But that's another story, another video. I ain't gonna get into that here. Yeah, he's a buster for real too. But yeah, by default, I gotta take him over her. She sucked. Now, Charlene, I do like the Facts of Life a lot. I thought Tootie and Blair was something else. She was a trip. Lisa Welcher was a trip. And Nisa McKinney, he played the same role. I give Cube his due for making successful movies, but he played the same role though. You mean what's happening versus the Jeffersons? The Jeffersons in a blowout. I like what's happening, but what's happening ain't gonna touch the Jeffersons. But I'll tell you this about what's happening. What's happening was one of the blackest shows without being black that crossed over. It was a trip because they weren't trying not to be down in the neighborhood, but they worked in a way that so few shows without it being so blatant, but they were. But the Jeffersons was George Jefferson. Come on now, and I like what's happening because Raj, uh, Ernest Thomas still looks the same. He's still cool. D be on there. Dwayne Hayward Nelson and also a rerun pass. But I love Fred Bear was that cat could dance. Rest in peace to Mabel King as the mama. But what's happening? But the Jeffersons gonna get the dub. So that's all I'm saying. The Jeffersons for me. No, come on now. The facts of life. You really digging out the hood now. Look at you. I like Charles in Charge. Gladys Knight and the late Christopher St. John. Sad story because I like that cat on the Young and Restless. But come on now. You got to do better than that now. Come on now. But you going to ask me next the new Odd Couple versus Living Single? Come on now. I like some of the people in Charles in Charge, but the Facts of Life was an iconic show and it had more depth. I know. That takes you back, way back. See, when you get hit with a lot of TV shows and all kinds of stuff, you don't even be thinking about some third tier shows that you used to get hyped about because you didn't move on. And I thought I was a TV nerd. Oh, come on now. Different World and a blowout. Now, I will say this if a Different World hadn't got past Marissa Tomei and Lisa Bonet, it would have been Saved by the Bell. And I did like Mario Lopez. He still be hosting a microphone on Extra, but Different World and a blowout. Not even close. What is it? Different World. You got to come up with something stronger than that. Beverly Hills 2 didn't get no play in my vision. Shannon Darty was mean and all that. I didn't care for that show. Different World flipped had two different types. Different World pulled the way they were, and then they took it to another level. It has to be Chad Hogan, but Lou Williams got it now, but it has to be Chad. Because I'm gonna tell you something. If Chad becomes the second best player, they're gonna win another ring or two. You heard it here first. They will repeat. They'll have a chance to win three if Chad becomes that dude to match Shay. Different World gonna tear up most of those shows. Any of them teeny bop shows that came out, they're not touching a Different World because Different World flipped the script. So because he's athletic, he can shoot, he can run the floor, he can defend well. And Wimby needed work. Wimby still needs work. Wimby still gotta stay healthy. Wimby's gotta still post up. Then he's gotta make people pay. Chad makes you pay when he goes and foot the flush. So he just has to just work on his game. Lassie, come on now. Lassie in a blowout. Wimby needs somebody like a Shea, then you might can see something. Because if De'Aaron Fox turns out to be a bust, I'm gonna be disappointed. Because De'Aaron Fox was somebody I really thought a lot of. This is gonna be they gotta add some pieces. They gonna need some pieces for Wimby. Can he take off? Yeah, but he needs to have the right guard play. They gotta have the right low post presence. They gotta have the right bench. They gonna need a lot of repairs before that kicks into view. So Lassie, of course. I understand why they were reluctant with Wimby. I can understand it. He's still a work in progress. He's only gonna be in his third year. But they get a pieces around him and he can stay healthy and you know, he got a chance to be something. He got a chance to really be a problem. But they need to make a couple moves though. They need one big move and then they need one middle move and then that'll be a problem. I'm more Star Trek. But I respect Twilight Zone though. I didn't forget about it. I just know that compared to Star Trek, I gotta take Star Trek. I did like Rod Sterling's Twilight Zone. If you take Barkley off the Suns 94-95 and put Giannis, no, no. Now you sound like your age. Let me tell you something. Barkley was a better pure scorer than Giannis was. Giannis is a better defender and he can run, but the round mound could go behind his back. Barkley won MVP in '93. Should have gotten it in '90. And you gotta make the case he was top 3 or 4 from '86 to about '92. '93. He was that kind of cat. But no, Giannis wouldn't have known what to do with that. But they would have put a wall on him, and then he would have been having to deal with Elijah one. Now I don't think he would have got through that. He had hurt his team. They just didn't have no depth. They needed Reggie Dumas. That's what Reggie Dumas. If he'd have came up, they were missing that piece. They were always missing another component. That wasn't Barkley's fault. When you lose leads and playing of basketball, that's got to do with coaching and what you got out there. So we got he ain't hurt his team. They just didn't play cohesive ball. I still think Reggie Dumas was the factor that didn't come through. And Houston just wanted more. They hit some big shots. I love Lucy because it was an iconic show. Lucille Ball was gangster, and I did like Bewitched. Liz Montgomery was something else, but Lucille Ball was like that. That was Dizzy and all that. They were groundbreaker. That was groundbreaking. But I did like Bewitched though. That might be your best question yet of the compare of the shows. Come on now, let's see what we got. Let me know. Let me know. Please hit the like, hit the subscribe. Please hit some comments. Wizard of Oz. It's iconic. It's hard to argue against it. I did like Mary Poppins a lot, but Wizard of Oz is Yellow Brick Road is just too many quotables. No comment, no comment. Anyway, I'm gonna go in a couple of minutes. I gotta go in a couple of minutes. I did come on. I came on a little too late because I missed out a lot of folks. But I am glad that y'all both came on. I'll be on for a couple more minutes today, and then I'll be back tomorrow. I watched The Little Rascals, but if you ask me who was more prevalent, I'd probably tell you Shirley Temple Black. But I did like The Little Rascals as a kid. I'll talk to you. I'll come back again. I'll definitely be back on, tomorrow. When I think about Hard Night Life, I think about Annie. I'll take Little Rascals. All right. So yeah, we're about ready to close in just a little bit. Thank you for both of y'all coming through tonight. I appreciate it because I sure as heck didn't want to. Yep, Jamie Foxx did a remake of it. I didn't want to miss out. So I'll come back probably. The plan is to come tomorrow. It's okay. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a day. I'll be back tomorrow though. Appreciate when it came through. And yeah, I'd probably go with Annie. I like the Annie. All right, I gotta go, but I'll catch you tomorrow. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free, and thanks for coming through. Peace.